Ladies, it's my shot. Got this. If I get the call, I prepare for this day. One time. Breathe.
You never know when your time is going to come. To rise above the rest. To seize the opportunity. To be crowned a champion. Is it time for your story to be told? The World Poker Tour.
Welcome to the Seminole Hard Rock Hotel and Casino here in Hollywood, Florida for the final table of the World Poker Tour Lucky Hearts Poker Open. I'm Scott Baumstein, joined by former WPT Player of the Year Faraz Jaka.
What's up, guys?
Bringing you the action. We got exciting final table today. All are guaranteed about $100,000. The winner guaranteed just shy of $500,000. Finally gets a real hand here after opening the last two in a row. That's interesting. He made it 150 the last couple of hands for his open. Now he has a big hand. He took a little while and made it 175.
Yep. Yeah, John likes to play mind games. Which I'm definitely a fan of. If anyone knows my game, you know, people a lot of times have kind of their standard sizings they go with. So you don't give off reads, don't give off tails. But the way I look at it is, you know, by messing with your sizing and switching it up, you have an opportunity to kind of deceive people and let them think they have reads. Just a matter of if you're confident in being able to kind of out-manipulate your opponents.
Right, cuts both ways.
It's the same as, you know, wearing sunglasses and a hoodie. It's okay, no one could read you, but now you don't have the opportunity to do reverse psychology and give fake tails.
Peter's committing a lot of his stack now in the big blind here.
That'll do it.
And he should be getting a double here.
Let's see if John's going to bet here now.
Peter only has slightly more than the size of the pot. He has 650 back, and there's 475 in the pot. Should be able to bet the turn and shove the river in most runouts here.
Yeah. Another check.
It's time to start getting
betting
for value, and you can't be concerned that you're beat. If you're beat, you're beat here at this point when you only have not much more than the size of the pot. You got to go with it.
Yeah.
When you flop top pair.
I want to see a jam here.
Yep, all sorts of draws out there. There's two flush draws. There's straight draws. You could be representing one of those. Queens is the perfect candidate to.
You can't play too careful here. This is your chance to double. Boom. Good shove.
And he's going to get looked up here instantly.
The cards are tabled. John chose two red queens. And Peter chose the king of diamonds, 9 of clubs. I'll throw a river card. 7 of spades is over.
And with that, Peter doubles up to about 1.8 million. Twice what he started with at the final table.
Raise 250.
Action pulls out a brown on the button here, makes it 250,000.
Fold. 10 seconds. Call.
Not able to make the call in the big blind. Two pairs will take the bluff. Ace of diamonds, 4 hearts, king of hearts.
Check. $375.
After a check, Brian will bet 375,000 on top.
Scott Drobe says, enjoying the covers, gentlemen. Now that I watch Brian's opening range, I feel a little better about 3-bet jamming 23 big blinds with ace-jack.
Call.
I'm assuming Scott must have busted or played a big pot versus Brian earlier in this tournament. It is definitely cool to, you know, play with some folks on day 2, day 3, then throw up the final table stream and see some of the players you're playing against and see their whole card. So that's one really cool thing about playing these, you know, televised events and live stream events, that you can go and check that out after the game's finished.
Brian C-bet the flop when Nadia flop top pair with 0 equity, has really 0 equity on the turn. This would be quite the barrel if he puts in another bet here with
He's going
really
for it.
nothing. He's got no pair, no draw, 8 high. And he's drawing stone dead to Nadia's top pair.
And it's still a tough spot for her.
I think she's way too strong here. She has one of her strongest hands, meaning just ace X, 'cause she doesn't have the really strong hands. You know, your aces, your kings, your ace king.
You know, when you look at
those.
Theoretically, you're absolutely right, but being in the situation with the amount of money on the line and just knowing that Brian might put epic pressure on you, the heart might come, the dime might come. This is one of those
I'll
spots.
take she doesn't fold.
This is one of those spots that's really hard. I like the bet.
He did bet a sizing that he surely made Nadia know that she was going to be put all in the river one way or the other.
And that's why some of these turn barrels can be so powerful. I'd like it a lot better if Brian had a heart and a diamond in his hand, or at least one. That way, you know, he can continue. So many different looks for John. First was the jacket, then the V-neck, and now the V-neck with the hat.
Raise.
Scott Somerville likes to hear strategies. We'll make sure we keep throwing some of those in, Scott.
10 seconds. 10 seconds. 275.
Raise to 275 on the gun from John.
John raising under the gun with pocket nines. He's going on his bigger sizing again. Last time he went bigger sizing, he was also under the gun, so his sizing tell could just be in relation to his position at the table, not only his hands. He had queens when he did it last time, also a strong hand, but he was under the gun.
Who's in the big blind this hand? Sometimes people will
Peter.
vary it based on that. Peter's a short stack.
Which I'd be more inclined to bet smaller against the short stacks.
Exactly.
But I do agree about I do change the biggest factor in my sizings have to do with who's in the big blind, not the hand itself. I don't vary it based on the hand, but I do vary it based on who's going to be defending the big blind.
You will make the call in the big blind. At 275.
I think this defend here is a little wide, even with the ace from Peter. It was Vincent under the gun open, almost a full 3x, and he only started the hand with 10 big blinds.
Yeah.
Now he's down to 7.
He's going to have to check
And
fold
he's going to have
so
to check fold,
often.
just like this flop. He thinks he might even have the best hand here, but it's going to be impossible for him to continue.
I'm 9 feet away. Just answer the question.
I think he's going to either, I mean, he's going to, any bet he does is going to be a commit, so he's either just going to go all in himself or bet half the pot. And
175.
After a check from Peter, John will bet 175.
I like that bet a lot. Without going all in, bet really small. Keep him in with some hands. Maybe keep him in with some ace high hands like he has. I don't think he will, but I like this bet versus just going all in. If he goes all in, he just takes it down all the time, and really gets all the hands that he can crush out of it.
10 seconds.
I bet 175. He might get some gut shots to jam it on him.
Yeah, you can't really continue here without at least the ace of clubs in your hand.
You know, if he instead had ace 4 or ace 5.
And to be
He
fair,
might be
John
shoving.
hasn't been doing anything too crazy. Yeah, ace 4, ace 5, like Scott's saying, makes sense. The hand you could jam here. And John hasn't been going too crazy today.
10 seconds.
He's using 2 time banks. I mean, I think he's going to end up letting this go. He's up against an under the gun raiser.
I mean, I have a feeling he's sitting there just thinking, you know, John's crazy. He's opening king high, queen 6.
That's very light.
Yeah, I don't like that play. I feel like he'd let John get into his head, just, you know, maybe the way John's been playing previous days. I mean, at least the ace of clubs in your hand, you know, helps a little bit.
Doesn't through me. Only from
Here, you just have nothing.
Even the 7 of clubs would help.
Got a little bit of sweat here. Turn card.
A 4 or an ace, or Peter's going to be our 6th place finisher.
Game, Peter. That said, could definitely understand it's probably frustrating for him as the short stack, especially with John and Brian opening so much that you get pretty tempted there. I mean, that said, it's not like I'll never check raise the king of my hand, but at least I'm going to have, you know, some backdoors then.
375.
Raises small to big to 3.75x with 10-4 off. Thinking Nadim is only going to continue with his really strong hands, some of which he's just going to shove in himself for this sizing. But Nadim's putting in a little bit of a spot here with Queen 8 suited. He's got a better than average hand. He's in position, but it's a big raise in front of him. What do you do here with Queen 8 suited? I think we're going to see a flat.
He's how many
Yep.
bigs?
Call.
34 bigs. We're seeing 3.75x, and he does call and see a
Or
flat.
why were you thinking he wouldn't call?
Oh, it was just pretty big, and it's a marginal hand. But
Yeah, I mean, you're connected, you're suited, you got high cards. You know, Brian's playing extremely aggressive, easily dominating some of his opens.
see, Brian does have some backdoor equity here. He's got backdoor straight and flush draws, and he is going to use that. Only one overcard on the board
300.
to his 10. He is going to see bet here. Nadim's not going anywhere with his flush
Yeah,
draw.
it's going to be interesting if the turn is an 8 or a jack or something.
diamond.
That gives, yeah, something that gives. But with the diamond, it's still pretty hard. I feel like he's going to need a diamond and a gut shot to continue. I mean, 4 diamonds, not a very strong blocker.
Well, that could be an interesting card.
Yeah.
He
Double
Brian
gutted,
now
right?
turns a double gutter,
Wow.
and Nadim picks up a gut shot to go along with his flush
Wow.
draw.
It's going to be really tempting for him to continue. I don't blame him here.
I do think he is going to continue here. 'Cause there's no way he's
Yeah.
just going to check fold this hand once he picks up a double gutter when he had nothing on the flop.
Yeah. This is good aggression from Brian, assuming he's going to bet. These are the kind of spots I think he needs to be saving up for.
700.
This
Oh.
is a good spot to just jam. If you're Nadim, you picked up straight draw, flush draw. Brian seems to be betting too many spots. If you don't improve, you're going to have to fold in the river. You know. But I don't. He's not going to fold, so he can either call or he can go all in. He can't raise an amount that isn't all in.
10 seconds.
Yep, he's thinking about it. He's thinking about what to do between those two
Is
options
that
for sure.
700 into
Into 1.5. Bet half pot,
0.7?
and he only has 2 million over the bet.
Feels like he's about to jam.
I think he is going to jam.
10 seconds.
He's got a lot of equity, even if he is getting called, and Brian seems to be getting out of line.
Wow. This is going to give... I want to see if Brian goes for it here, if it's a brick here on the river. Oh, wow. Wow, 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 wow.
Brian goes runner, runner straight, And Nadeem rivers some equity. He rivers second pair, but there is 4 line to the straight on the board.
And what size is he going to go here?
I think he's just going to put it in. It's only he only has $2 million behind. There's $2.8 million in the flop. I think Brian's only move here is to go
This
all
is
in.
tough call from Nadeem. I mean, what do you beat now? You're blocking this diamond draw.
1.1.
One of them.
You're also blocking like 6-8.
I mean, the hands you would have been happy with were, you know, him barreling ace 10, and I really like your suggestion as a jam on the turn.
I'm surprised Brian doesn't go bigger and just go all in on the river and make it really polar.
I think he might just feel like he's not. It's so hard to call off without a straight
10
here.
seconds.
I kind of don't blame his sizing. I mean, it's so scary to hero call off, you know, in a spot like this.
And it might very well work out for him because I don't think he was calling all in. He might call this 1.1 billion.
I think if I'm playing someone like John, like John, who we know is capable of hero calling, I'm much more open to going bigger, or you know, maybe another reg who's, you know, as established as Brian.
10 seconds.
I wouldn't mind shoving versus that type of player, but for someone who hasn't been in this spot all that often, it's just unclear if he's willing to hero his life off here without a straight.
What do you think he's going to do?
I think he's gonna call. I think he's pretty tempted. I think Brian's been pushing like crazy.
I think he's going to call too.
Yeah. The problem is, do I like to call? I mean, I don't know. You don't really beat. I can't really think of what he beats. Yeah, I don't think I call. You just don't beat anything, and you have the diamonds in your hand.
Brian will show the 10 clubs, 4 of diamonds.
And he's kicking himself. He's thinking I should have shoved the turn.
That's a pretty dirty run out for him.
So I'm surprised that Brian wants to take, you know, these higher variance routes when when putting pressure on his opponent's post flop is working very well. But putting pressure on his opponent's pre flop is also working well, and it's not going to work here. Nadeem is going to look him up with ace king.
Well, that's the beauty of a hand like 10 jack. It plays completely fine against ace king. It plays completely fine against
Better than
nines,
better
eights,
than 2 to 1.
sevens. Yep.
It's almost only a 3 to 2 dog here.
How many chips was this? 2
Well, it's only 18 big blinds. Perfectly reasonable here.
Yep.
This is not out of line at all. From small to big. And he outflops him just like that. Nadeem's going to need an ace or a king to stay alive here.
I do
Brian will take the lead with pair 10s. Good turn.
What reasonable person would say
The
no?
7 of clubs. Deem needing an ace or a king here on the river. Off the river card. River will bring
Good game, the team.
And with that, Nadeem is our 5th place finisher.
Yeah, Nadia's been playing a lot of great hands. That one I did not like. Happens to the best of us. Happened to me yesterday. Sometimes you just make a brain fart.
Well, since you're not going to mention it, yesterday, Faraz chopped the $5,000 buy-in tournament, the last big tournament of the series here,
Yep.
for about $100,000.
Yeah, about 90K, 89,000.
That was a one-day tournament. Nice
Yep,
little day.
$5,000 buy-in.
18 buy-ins in a
Up
day.
and paid. Yeah, we had Joe McKean, former WSB champ, was there. He got 3rd place.
Wow. So Nadia just look at this hand here. So Nadia just completed from the small blind with ace 10 offsuit, and then John just went all in for only 21 big blinds with ace king. This is a call. She's so strong here. She completed from the small blind. John's going to be doing this with weaker aces than ace king, obviously weaker aces than her ace 10.
Wow. Wow.
And if I chose to play the hand that way,
I mean, he
not
could
only
have king queen.
he could have king queen. Not only would I have called had I limped and he shoved me for 21 big blinds, I would have called if I raised and he re-raised me for 21 big blinds. Blind versus blind for 21 big blinds effective with ace 10 offsuit. It is very unlikely that you're beat there. The hand is very, very strong in that spot. You're four-handed. You're blind versus blind. You're only 21 big blinds effective.
Yeah, I want to
ace
see
10
a call there.
is you know, she could have shoved herself. She could have raised and then called off.
What
she could have completed and then called off. But
I'm trying to see what the other shortest stack is. It's
it's Chan Racy, and we'll see his stack in a minute there.
I'm trying to see what she was. Oh, she's got ace 10 here again.
I think she is the shortest stack.
Yeah, I mean, if you're the shortest stack, that's even more reason to call there.
She's got 20 big blinds effective and ace 10 again. I think her hand is strong enough now to min raise and then call all in if she's jammed on.
You know, I have a feeling on that last hand, she was thinking she was gonna.
It could happen again here with John and his ace 8 offsuit.
Yep. I have a feeling on the last hand she was.
And he does it, John. I think. Oh no, I thought he said all in.
He's definitely thinking about
I
it.
will not be he has the short stack behind him in Chan Racy, so he's not worried about him. I think he's going to go all in.
What do you
and
think
she's
of
got
a
it.
shove?
I think his shove is fine,
Yeah.
especially if Nadia's overfolding, which she is. Again, she's got
No, she's
another
not
call.
gonna do it again. There's no way she folds this.
You know, sometimes we could look at this two ways. Well, she made the right fold last time. This would be the wrong. But like, I think in both of these spots, these were calls, and she folds again.
Wow. I don't like this.
Like Nadia, you're not going to find a lot of much stronger hands in
Yeah.
these spots four-handed
Yep.
this shallow. As you can see, yes, sometimes he will show up with ace king, but he's also going to show up with ace 8.
If you're not willing to call ace queen, what are you going to be playing to maximize your profits? We definitely both agreed that the ace queen should have been a call, so she is playing a little too tight there. Oh, I think the point we're making is that, you know, there's small mistakes and there's large mistakes, and, you know, overfolding ace queen there is a smaller mistake than calling too wide with, you know, maybe ace 9 or something.
Call from Brian in the small blind.
And
Maybe an ace
hello, we have the light open from John in the cutoff, a 6-4 offsuit. The 3-bet from, oh wow, excuse me, not the 3-bet. Brian just calls with ace king, gets Nadia now to shove with ace queen, and she's going to find out the bad news.
Should have just thrown a time trip later.
But quite frankly, even if Brian had 3-bet here, her 4-bet jamming here would have been reasonable.
2.45.
I think she's going to run good here.
Here's 2.45.
I think she's going to suck out.
Timeout.
It's 50-50. Either she does or she doesn't, right?
I don't know why, I just feel it.
This went exactly how Brian wrote it up. I'm surprised we saw, even though they are very deep, but I am surprised we saw a call from Brian out of the small blind with ace king.
So he's just fake tanking over here, huh?
Fold.
Fold is announced.
Fold it? Yeah, I call. Call.
Brian will make the call. in the
Talk about
small
a
blind.
perfect spot for Brian.
Mhm.
He's just never calling with ace king out of the small blind there. Virtually never. He does it just like this is that rare time that he does. Finds Nadia in the big blind with
Guessing
ace
he
queen and
just-
gets her to shove.
I'm guessing he just didn't want to play a big pot
Right.
out of position, and John's not putting too much pressure.
Right. And he can play the hand disguised.
Yeah.
It's balanced.
Probably
it's
ace king suited, he'd be more likely to 3-bet.
Flop's gonna bring 3 diamonds, 10 of diamonds.
no help for Nadia.
No
She's going
luck.
to need a queen.
Brian's holding ace of diamonds.
Running deuce 4 to chop. Now she needs a queen that isn't a diamond. It's only getting worse for her. She's got 2 outs
Nadia's in under
where she's going to be out in 4th.
a 9 and diamond queen at this one. Off to the river.
GG, Nadia.
Seven of spades.
I was wrong.
Congratulations
She
on
didn't get
fourth
there.
place
That's why I'm not in the tournament.
diamonds.
Not on my game.
Total prize pool of $171,642.
It's Nadia in 4th place for 172,000.
Raise the 3.
And it looks like John's following suit with the bigger opening size as well. I like that he didn't hesitate with the 8-9 suited.
950.
He realizes he doesn't have much fold equity at this point.
Correct.
Well, I guess, yeah, I guess he,
It
yeah.
happens to have him crush too, which
Yeah.
is the crazy part.
Yeah.
But I would have waited. You know, you have no fold equity.
Yeah,
and you have
sorry.
9
He
high.
has what, 8-9 big blinds?
Yeah, like
So
not-
he could
has
still,
no fold equity.
okay. Yeah, he has plenty of fold equity,
And
so.
No, he There's no fold equity over the
No,
open.
no, no. I meant he should wait to
Right.
just shove on the
Following
button.
hand, he's going to have the button, and he
Yeah,
will have fold
I would rather
equity.
just shove like king high on the button than this hand because your
It's
9 high is not.
happened to work out for him that he
Yeah,
found
yeah.
a hand that he could crush, which should
Yeah.
very rare to
Yeah,
happen.
yeah. Sorry, I don't like this. I don't like this.
But I would have
reshove.
folded here with 9-8 suited.
I would go here with 8-9 suited if I had maybe like I don't know.
If it
4 or
folded
5
to
big,
you,
or,
yeah,
or
if it
if you had
folded
like
to you.
4 or 5 big blinds or something like that.
This is going to end in a chop some
1 out of 21. Let's go.
40-30% of the time.
I'll take a shot. Come on.
Yeah, the thing that sucks with 8-9 is he could just be opening queen 5 and now you're behind.
This is going to be a chop now, unless a 8 or a 6 rolls off.
River is a 4 of clubs, or a chop. Both play 9 high.
So anytime I lose, you know, some huge pots and I'm down to 40 big blinds, I just try to remind myself that,
All in.
just pretend you just doubled up and you're at this 50 big blind stack and you wouldn't feel the way you do.
16 point.
We're going to have an all-in and a call here.
Call both hands.
Jason
please.
shoving small line, and Chan will make the call in the big blind. Jake will show the
There we
queen
go.
of hearts, jack of clubs. Chan will table the ace of clubs, 9
It
of
won't go
clubs.
away. Good luck.
And Sergeant Life is at risk with the ace 9 suited, and we're off to a flop. It is an ace high flop, ace of spades, queen
All
of
right, so
spades.
we're out in
ace of
front,
clubs.
top pair ace versus middle pair. If you can fade a queen or a jack, he's going to have 3 million chips and be right back in this. Now only a queen he's got to fade.
Bad turn card for the short stack.
So off to the river. That is the 8 of diamonds.
Now with
Sweet.
2 doubles.
Double.
Oh, sorry, bad turn card for John. I think.
1.25 million was taken.
And with that, he's got 2.7 million
You know it's your baby specifically?
at 150,000. 18 big blinds.
Oh, that's the first one. Denies the man his moment.
Jake opens the button at 400,000.
His moment to feel like James Bond playing Monte Carlo with the blacks.
All in.
Yep, like that
Yeah,
shove.
You got to be careful opening some of these 6-4 type hands.
Yeah, I think that's
You
a
know, you're
mistake
just-
opening that wide.
You're giving him.
Because he has a 20 big blind stack in the small blind who's going to shove on him when he wakes up with, some reasonable hands. And you got Brian in the big blind who's just going to defend everything to these
Yeah.
opens.
Yeah, there's not. Yeah, there's. He's got to realize that
I think Brian's got a clear fold here with king queen off to open and then
20
a
big blinds.
20 big blind shove behind him, plus the original opener behind him.
I think so.
Yeah, I think it's pretty clear.
20 bigs.
Oh, what happened was John has now folded out of turn.
Oh.
So now he knows that there's a
Oh.
fold behind him out of turn.
Oh,
That
that's
really does
now-
change things.
now-
I still think it's a fold.
I don't know. I mean, he's going to be shoving king 10, king jack here, right? And
He's going to shove king jack,
six
maybe
suited,
king 10
7
suited. I don't think he's shoving king 6.
jack queen.
But he
king
did.
6
He did
suited.
just shove 8-9 suited, so maybe he is.
That was with no fold equity. I think this is a call for Brian, knowing that the guy's folding behind you.
So it's binding if I call.
When you were blocking your cards, I thought you'd already folded. I'm sorry. But yeah, folded.
I think you got to call if you're Brian here.
Like, I don't think this was intentional
For
by
sure, for
John,
sure.
but it is a huge advantage for John if it does induce Brian to call here.
Yeah.
Fold.
Call.
And the land would be behind also, but like it's still.
Yeah.
And he's John Racy is understandably very upset at this.
Like it's really. He was blocking his cards. I value very much. No, but there has
I think there probably should be a penalty involved here.
We're gonna finish the outcome of this game.
He does. Sean Racy at least does have the best hand. He's a 3-2 favorite with dead
This
money in
actually
there. It's not a
costs-
terrible. It's not a terrible spot for him.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, this actually caused Brian to make call the worst hand.
Clubs can bring the 10 of clubs,
And if he can
7 of
fade a king or a queen, he's going to get a double because of it.
I mean, yeah, that's. I mean, he could come back and win this entire thing because of that mistake.
And now a jack, king, queen.
Brian will need a king, queen, or a jack here on the river. Off the river.
Wow, and he gets the double. It works out for him. Look at that smile on his face. This reminds me of a hand from this summer in one of the high rollers of the World Series with Sam Soverel. Do you remember this? Where he folded out a turn and it caused a there was a question of whether he did it intentionally or not. A very similar spot. It was a fold out of turn, which induced another player to call, which benefited the player who made the mistake and folded.
It's like a huge equity spot. Like
It's massive.
it's like
Massive.
So Jake, it is a 1 orbit.
And he does get the 1 orbit penalty. I think that's the correct thing to do here. There was no penalty given this summer when it happened, and I think we have a correct ruling by Jason, the tournament director.
like
Regardless of the result.
I win and you lose.
Yeah,
Like
regardless of
you,
the result.
like I would have folded.
Yeah.
Mine.
I wonder what Brian's going to do with
Ace
queen
jack.
9.
He's probably ace jack. He's probably gonna fold.
What if ace jack he's going to fold? But
Yeah.
what if he has just a 9? What if he has 8-9 or queen 9 or king 9?
Oh,
He
that
has
was
second
second
pair.
pair.
Yeah.
I think he might have just checked that back. I mean, he's got an overcard. He's protected on overcards. Yeah, I wouldn't mind just seeing a check back with
500.
queen with 9 and an overcard.
That's gonna cost John Racy dearly. He was an upward trajectory, but that's gonna cost him a lot of his stack, over a quarter of his stack that hand.
I said
2 I think he lost 2 out of 6.2 million that
Okay.
hand.
Whatever you want to ask.
10 seconds.
Do you think Brian could call there with a hand like ace jack suited backdoor flush draw?
I don't think they were deep enough for him to call. I think it was a shove or fold spot.
It almost makes the check raise a little better if they're deeper, because you almost kind of want him to be able to call with a hand like that, so you could jam him off it on the turn when you turn a flush draw or straight
Wow,
draw.
so this card is gonna mean John's gonna win some chips here.
His flop was
John, it was Brian completed in the small blind and John raised from the big blind pre-flop, and the flop check through. Let's Brian and John both catch their top pair on the turn. Brian's not going anywhere. He's not raising. He's just going to call here.
Brian's been really patient about checking these spots, which has worked out luckily for him because he's outkicked.
And on most rivers, it's going to go, yep, check, bet, call, and he can go big here.
Yeah.
Ace-queen is so strong on this board once that deuce pairs.
Although for John, it's probably going to appear like he's just targeting a 9 here.
1.9.
Snap goes 1.9. Pot size bet. Didn't even think about it. Like we discussed before, all of his snap bets have yet to be a bluff. Any of his snap
Wow.
bets.
Every time he's done the
Call.
But I don't blame Brian
Yeah.
for calling. His hand's
Can't
just
keep
too
folding.
strong. His hand's too strong to fold the top pair there.
yeah,
Maybe you want to fold some 9s, but not your queens.
yeah. Yeah, I think you could. We're just gonna take him off his game a little bit, but taking your time to think things through a little, it's never the worst thing.
10 seconds. All in. 16, 17 million. Call.
Here we go, right back at it.
I think that's a little light with ace deuce off.
It was for
17,
17
16 big
bigs.
blinds. Like, what, you found him with 10 high, but you're flipping.
He's significantly short though, right?
He's got 16 big blinds.
I mean, relative to the other players.
Yeah, but I just don't feel like ace deuce plays well enough. You're either flipping like he is, or you're crushed.
I think it's pretty close. I mean, if there is any other short stacks, I 100% agree. That said, I'm not 100% confident. Sean did it. Heads up. Just like that. Sits out, comes back in, takes his chips.
This is certainly
They
gonna be
are
like
getting the job done. Whoa! Got a little. His
Set
popper
much?
right back up. Right back up. That was good recovery.
Yeah.
Reminds me of when I was at college at U of I in snow for the first time. Fall and slip on the ice and jump right back up. Like, oh, no one saw that, right?
Right.
No.
We didn't get that one. It was
He
unexpected.
rubbed that
said.
one off like nothing happened. Oh, God. And no, man, and now he's got a cooler right after. Wow.
Well, these are the guys we wanted to see heads up. Definitely the most action.
Oh, wow.
I think
This
should be
is
interesting.
This is going to be for sure a C-bet and for sure a check raise. I mean,
Yep.
based on these positions, it's such an action flop.
And Brian has seemed to go on the bigger side.
And I wonder if John saw the 4-5 check raise on a very similar board not too long ago, if he has anyone telling him the hands.
To 550.
Brian will raise to 550,000.
He's not going anywhere. You can't go anywhere here with the D's.
0.8. Raised to 1.
Wow.
We raise to 1 point.
I mean, you got it. What do you do here for Brian? Click it back?
Brian is out of position, and if he just calls, it looks like he has a 6.
Exactly. If you just call, it looks like you have a 6.
So I think he's going to click it back. Yeah. You know, look, calling looks stronger than raising in this spot.
Yeah, you got to click it back here. I mean,
agree.
he's got to be asking himself, could I be up against a6 though? Like,
I mean, if he's got it, he's got it.
I mean, if he feels like he has a big edge, but
But if he's up against a6, he's going to get it all in
Yeah.
by the river anyway.
yeah. Yeah, that's true. You're just not going to get away here, so
Or even if it's not all, most of it.
it's going to be.
He's just as likely to have him for a weaker 6
he's
than a
gonna bet
stronger
big,
6.
yeah.
I mean, just like he can have a6, he could have 9-6 or 8-6.
It's going to be 5 in the pot. Yeah, they're going to get it in anyways. I think you got to go with the click here.
Raised to
Yep,
3.3.
I like that. 3.3, he does go for the click,
3.3.
and that should be the end of the hand.
Call.
Call,
I was gonna
snap
say,
call.
I don't think it's
Whoa,
gonna
he doesn't
just-
even think. He doesn't even think about it.
I didn't expect him to fold either. It's just. John's not the type of guy to. I mean, he's got the 2
But
too.
even
He's
if you
not.
want to call, take your time. Think about calling. Make it look like you might not. It might like you might have a 6.
Well, I mean, it's kind of intimidating him. He's trying to intimidate him. I'd be trying to think if you're Brian here, if you're everyone. Well, not on that card. I could. I was gonna say I'd be tempted to do some checking on a lot of turns.
It's sort of a good card for John in the sense that 5 now really all of his check races sort of now beat him. Hands like 3-4, 4-5, 3-5 now have gotten there, and your queen 2 is no good.
10 seconds.
1.6.
Small bet, right?
0.6.
I like it.
At 1.6 into 7 million.
I like that sizing. You're just keeping in a lot of stuff, and you're giving yourself a cheap price. You know, if you have.
I don't know who has who covered.
You know, maybe he has 5x, maybe he has a flush draw, maybe he has 7-8, and he gets to kind of see that river nice and cheap now.
Time. Yeah, I'm not used to like really sized phone coverage.
We're gonna have a.
I think we're going to see a call here, and then a jam on the river, and then John's going to fold.
I think we're gonna have a new chip leader here at the end of this hand. Just like that first hand of heads up play, Brian is going to punish John here and take the chip lead. Regardless of whether he folds here or not, I think Brian will have the chip lead.
10 seconds.
I think he's gonna fold. Yep, he's folding.
I said it first. Time out.
Second time check raise.
He's saying he said the time first, but it doesn't matter if your time button rings after 30 seconds, they'll automatically take one of your time chips, whether or not you throw the chip out.
10 seconds. Fold.
Fold.
And he does make the right fold on the turn.
Brian will take down his top.
But they're now about neck and neck. I think Brian now will have a slight edge in chips, but they're virtually even after one hand.
See? Said he feels like James Bond with the plaques.
Exactly. And so the blinds are still 75 and 150. We took a break mid-level there while they were setting up for heads-up play. But I don't think it'll be too much longer before we get to 200K, and then the blinds go up every 30 minutes.
Brian opens the action line button to 375. Call from Jake. Eight of diamonds, jack of spades, nine of spades.
Check.
John flopped pretty well here. Middle pair, gut shot, backdoor flush draw. Brian also flopped decently with bottom pair and a gut shot.
Check, check.
And it goes check, check. Wow. And Brian finds that miracle turn 8. Definitely going to put some chips in here on the turn.
250. That's 250.
And I think he's going to get raised again.
250,000 is the leader.
Raised to 1.3.
Raised to 1.3 million.
Yep, he gets raised big here on the turn. 2 hands in a row. He's thinking, what is he walking into? He could only win with a 9 in the river. If he gets a 10 for a straight, it'll be no good. He's losing to Brian's bigger straight. It's a huge raise, and he just.
And you do want to be careful leading when Brian checks back. He's repping some sort of showdown value or an 8 or a 9. So when that 8 pairs up.
Right, he effectively has bottom pair on the turn. It would have been a good spot for him to just check call.
Yeah. So John put himself in this situation by leading the card. He really shouldn't be. I mean, what are you going to get value out of? Anything you beat is just going to fold. Maybe some ace high, but that's just too thin. I don't think I would lead a 9 there if I was John. I'm leading a jack.
And now
8.
Brian's going to go big here on the river.
Check to you, Brian.
I mean, that card's going to be a little scary for him as well. This is kind of the spot where he went to small sizing versus the other player, where GTL-wise he should have put him all in with the straight, but he went small because he knew he was more likely to get called.
I think he's going to go around 2.5 million, 2.5 to 3 million.
I don't mind that. I don't want to see him go like 3 mil. I think that's
He
too
went
big.
3.3. Snap call.
Snap call.
Just didn't even think about it. Just like called him up, beat him in the pot
Wow.
for a full pot bet.
Don't listen to me.
Brian's going to show queen of
And
spades, 8 of hearts.
That's a good example of,
9 of
and I'm
diamonds,
sure if
7
we were interviewing Brian right now, he might, have some feelings. Just, he could tell the guy's frustrated. Sometimes you're there and you could just tell like this guy's ready to call you off, and you take a bet sizing that you wouldn't normally take. I remember younger days I've always have all these aspirations of partying after a big win, and I used to do that, but these days you're just drained. You just want to go home and pass out, but you can't sleep because your brain is so wired. You just have numbers and flops and chip counts like going through your head.
Wow! Oh my
Jesus,
God!
This is gonna be an action
Alti
board.
flopped trips for like the 3rd time this heads up. Not only does he flop trips, it's against top pair.
Run better, Brian.
And like always, he's checking back his top pair, although this time is a good check back because you're only running into better when you get continued.
Not to take anything away from Brian, he's playing very sick. Seeing him takes, I still thinking about that King Jack spot Brian took. Playing very epic. Now, this is
Checks
actually
twice, and now he's gonna get check raised. He's gonna get check raised
Now-
again.
Brian's paying attention. That is a smart check because
He knows he delays c-bets.
he delays c-bets a bunch, and he's been checking back top pair a lot. So
And he's been check raising so much, and he's been sort of, John's been drawing lines in the sand and making very wide calls. He might be, if he was check raised here, he might bet call a 4, based on some other hands we've seen.
yeah,
but
yep. Really smart check by Brian.
And he goes huge. He goes huge to 1.5, and he's gonna get called based on what I'm looking at.
I mean, you got to call with the king here. I don't care.
It's a huge
mean,
raise.
It sucks having the 7 in your hand because some
Blocks
of
6, 7, 7, 8.
Yep, 6, 7, 7, 8. 3, 7 suited. Well, there's probably not gonna do 3, 7. Oh, you never know. He's not gonna have 3, 7 offsuit.
Don't raise, John. Okay.
Yeah.
He's gonna make a call of 1.5 million.
And
I like both of their plays here. I'm not going anywhere from John.
and Brian's gonna bet around 3 million on the river and get called.
Off to the river call.
He's gonna bet like 3.5 million and get snap called.
I mean, Jaw could have king. I mean, he shouldn't have checked king queen on the flop, but you never know. He's been checking some big ones. Well, now John's
He's gonna go somewhere in between 3, 3.5, and he's
now
gonna get
John's
snapped.
kicker doesn't play.
3.1 snap call.
4.2.
Wow, he goes over bets the pot. Snap call.
Wow.
God damn it.
He just snap calls and he doesn't even think about it.
Nice hand.
He's realized he's getting snap called in all his value hands. He
Yeah.
knows he's up against the
Yeah.
king. He says it doesn't matter. Might as well overbet the
Yeah,
pot.
Brian's just going big when he has it and not bluffing when he doesn't, and saving small pots to bluff in, and it's working out. If Brian doesn't have trips, you want him to have a bluff, and his most likely bluffs are going to be something like a straight draw,
Or a
which
flush
is-
draw.
Yeah, straight draw, flush draw. So you don't want to have the cards in your hand that you want your opponent to have if he's bluffing, which is 7, 8, 8, 9, or spades. So anytime you have any of those cards in your hand as the bluff catcher, you're blocking his bluffs. So it's just less likely he's bluffing it because you have the 7 in your hand. Doesn't mean you can never call with a blocker in your hand, but it should make the likelihood of you calling go down significantly.
7 of clubs.
I think John is going to win this hand.
So Christopher's saying the 7 is irrelevant when the queen comes. So Christopher, you're referring to his kicker not playing. What we're referring to is that you don't want to be blocking the other player's bluffs.
Brian's gonna check.
Check.
Checks back. Second ring the jack of hearts.
Again, those of you wondering how we're interacting with the fans, we're on the World Poker Tour's Facebook page. The stream is up there, and in the comments section, you can chat, ask any questions you want to ask, or state any comments, and we're checking it out. Just say hi if you want to say hi. Give you a shout out. Let us know what you want to talk about.
Check.
Check.
5 and a quarter.
5.25 is the bet.
Got a 6 high bluff here from John.
Call.
Quick call with ace high.
Brian. Jake will show 6-5 of clubs for 6 high. Brian will show ace 9 of clubs for ace high.
Brian makes a good call there with ace high. Sense the frustration. Hello.
It doesn't matter. 8-10.
We have potential for something to happen here. John on the button with ace 8, certainly going to come in for a raise. Brian just calls, which now means it's a possibility he might be coming over the top of Brian's incoming raise here.
800.
Snap all in all, it's over.
100,000.
He said all in.
Wow.
All
Aces to ace 8 offsuit. This is going to be
Raise
hard.
3 bet jam.
Brian shows
Limp on the
ace-
button,
ace of
raise
diamonds.
from Brian out of the big blind, and snap jam from John on the
Wow.
button.
Jake's going to show the ace of spades.
This is going to be very hard from to overcome. This is one of the worst spots you can get in No-Limit Hold'em.
Tournament life. Brian is aces heads up, trying to become a two-time Lucky Hearts Poker Open champion.
Come on,
To the flops.
7-5-6. 7-5-6 for the sweat.
Flops going to bring the 7 diamonds.
Either
nine
running eights or
spades,
running straight
king
cards,
of
or
clubs.
Brian is going to be the champion. He's refusing the handshake, doesn't want to jinx himself.
Bring it up to a turn card here.
Oh, he tried to shake his hand early.
It's over.
On the turn is going to lock up a victory onto the river.
There's that smile. I haven't seen Brian smile all day. He's been a machine.
And we have a Lucky Hearts Poker Open champion. Congratulations to Brian Alton. First time in WPT history.
Anton
a player
Wigg,
has won
the rail.
an event at the
Give
same
Brian a
location,
big
same
hug.
event for the second time.
Jonathan Jaffe. Jonathan Jaffe just took down the high roller, the 25K high roller the other day.
Brian Alton, two-time Lucky Hearts Poker Open champion.
Brian won the showdown, but same difference. Congratulations to Brian Altman, second WPT title here at the Hard Rock. Another $500,000. Played great. What can you do? He's one of the crushers. Also, congratulations to John Dollinger. Played well all day. Just wasn't his day. Heads up. John Racy really waited everybody out.
This
I'm
was
sure
a,
he's happy with third
this
place.
was a fun final table.
It really was. A lot of interesting spots.
Yeah.
Some stuff that, like outside the box stuff.
Once again, let's hear
Some
Brian Alton, our two-time Lucky
extra crypto activities.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, Brian went pretty much wire to wire. He was up there in day pretty much every day with top of the chip counts. I mean, what can you say? He's a crusher.
The amount of focus on Brian's face, just the entire day, just like so in the zone. Made a lot of great plays. A couple spots here and there that didn't work out, but overall some really awesome plays.